Sorry, I started the recording. Now may I request our director, Dr. Shivaji Munde, to give the opening remarks. Over to you, sir, Dr. Shivaji Munde.
Good morning to one and all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
On the behalf of Yashaswi Education Society's International Institute of Management Science, I warm welcome you all to the online Impact Lecture Series 2021. Organized by International Institute of Management Science in association with AICTE and Innovation Cell of Ministry of Education. It's my immense pleasure to welcome to today's guest and speaker, Mr. Dattatray Ambulkar sir, HR, Management and Entrepreneurship Consultant. I also welcome to today's second session guest, Dr. Sanjay Lakde sir, CEO, PCCOE Center for Innovation and Linkage Forum. As a part of online Impact Lecture Series, we are planning to organize the lectures on two different topics. That is, the first topic is entrepreneurship as a preferred career options. And the second topic is the patent drafting for beginners. Both the topics are very useful to the students as well as teacher community. They will understand how to start their own startup and how to draft the patent at the beginning level. I think this is very useful to not only the student and faculties, for the all communities from the society. With this, once again, I thanks and I welcome you all. Thank you. Over to Swati.
Thanks a lot, sir. Now it's time to listen our guest speaker, Mr. Dattatray Ambulkar, HR Management and Entrepreneurship Consultant. It is my proud privilege to introduce Mr. Dattatray Ambulkar, who is going to be share his thought today on very relevant topic, entrepreneurship as a preferred career option. Ambulkar sir has over 40 years experience in human resource and industrial relation. His knowledge and experience comprehends the area of HR process, system, documentation, employee communication and engagement, industry relation, employee training and development in various levels. He graduated from Nagpur University, followed by PG Diploma in Personal Management and Industrial Relation from University of Mumbai, PG Diploma in Labour Law and Labour Welfare from the Thane Law College, PG degree in Journalism from Nagpur University. He is also lead auditor under the Environmental Management System by British Standard Institution. His research theme, approach, industrial relation involved to resolve dealing with various aspects of managerial responsibility, risk and its mitigation, employees' response to attain the reciprocal resolution through involvement, has been awarded a copyright and trademark registration by Department of Industrial Policy Promotion, Government of India. His professional profile includes working in manufacturing projects and corporate area. His last assignment was on GM HR Global Service Limited, Pune. Thereafter, an advisor for workforce motivation through employee recognition through Pride at Work for JNPT, Navi Mumbai. He has also evolved a unique framework of business scorecard for MSME sector and also has been driving the concept of transformation at MSME sector from COVID-19 to Success 2021, entrepreneurship for an ex-serviceman, and since 2014, he is working as a HR management and entrepreneurship development consultant with various organizations. Ambulkar sir is a founder of HR startup involved to resolve HR Solution Private Limited Pune. Is also associated with EDII Ahmedabad, Atal Innovation Sector of Rambhau Prabodhini, Mumbai, Pune Management Association. Sir, we are really feeling very privileged to have you today with us. Sir, over to you, sir.
Good morning, friends. Good morning, everyone. Dr. Shivaji Rao, Dr. Vandana Mohanty. Am I audible? Visible both?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You are audible also and you are visible also.
Yeah. And Professor Swati, my other colleague and learned speaker, Dr. Sanjay Lakde, and other faculty members, experts, and fellow student participants. I think today has been a very distinct occasion. As we know, particularly in the state of Maharashtra, the schools are going to get open today after the gap of this pandemic period. And I think it would be a trend setter for our education system, our, the school going children and education pattern as such, particularly in view of the challenges what we have seen during the pandemic period. And on the same day, the institute has launched this initiative. I think it sounds a very encouraging coincidence to me, and I'm sure that it will be benefited to all those who are organized, so also those who are going to participate in it. So friends, my topic has been entrepreneurship as a preferred career option. And we'll be in next 50 minutes or so, we'll be narrating the concept of entrepreneurship at the entry level for the beginners, particularly for the students community, so to say, and how entrepreneurship can be a preferred career in days to come for our student friends. So friends, this Atmanirbhar Bharat, we are aware, and Atmanirbhar Bharat, if we want to achieve, it has to go through Atmanirbhar Yuva, Atmanirbhar youth, self-reliant youth. And that's why I thought of putting a portrait of Swami Vivekananda ji. Just to make a mention, there was the same or similar or even worse situation during late 30s when there was acute plague in most of the parts of India, and more so in the eastern sector comprising of the Bengal region, which includes the Bangladesh, what currently we have. And that time, although Swamiji worked on it two ways. Number one, he started helping, he started working with a sense of charity along with Bhagini Nivedita and his other colleagues. And he also realized that merely helping charity, extending the helping hand would not sufficient, it would not last long, and it will not give the desired results. So he also encouraged the youth who were available at that point of time to opt for entrepreneurship. And people started following it, in whatever was possible. It can be through the vendor, it can be through the foodstuff supplier, so on and so forth. So in a way, in the same or similar situation, Swamiji had initiated. So I thought of sharing and making a mention of this. And with this, friends, I will take you through my presentation, and we'll conclude with a question answer session. So I'll be happy to respond to queries related to my today's subject matter. So next. Next slide, please. Yeah. Friends, here comes the another very inspiring quote from Dr. Abdul Kalam. And what Dr. Saab has said is that the previous slide, please. Slide prior to, yeah. Thinking is the capital. So when I say thinking, it essentially includes, friends, your degree, your knowledge, your education. And enterprise is the way. Based on that, you can go opt for an entrepreneurship and have your own enterprise of your choice. And hard work is the solution. And friends, just keep in mind what Dr. Abdul Kalam has said is that there is no substitute to hard work. So I think if you combine three, you can be a successful entrepreneur. Next please. The objective, yeah, next slide please. The objective is to share the concept of entrepreneurship, how entrepreneurship can be achieved, how one can start working as an entrepreneur, and how the entrepreneurship itself can be a career for a upcoming students. Another idea is that to inculcate the spirit and sense of entrepreneurship, so that some of you whosoever is willing to take up entrepreneurship as a career, they can work accordingly. So these are the two main objectives. Next, please. Next slide, please. Now, how to explore the entrepreneurship? So, entrepreneurship as a career option, tapping the entrepreneurship. There is a potential of entrepreneurship. Service and joining a corporate or any department as such can be a career option. But one can always and one should tap the potential entrepreneurship one has got. Then why entrepreneurship? I think this question we need to ask ourselves. Then after asking this question, there has to be some initiation, some start, something to begin with, thought process attached to it. Then, in my opinion, friends, entrepreneurship has to be a state of mind. Your mindset must with the sense of entrepreneurship. Then importance of entrepreneurship, we'll go through this. Then role of entrepreneur in entrepreneurship becomes very vital. It is not enough to opt entrepreneurship as a career or to start an enterprise. But your role, your responsibilities, they are very important. Then vocation and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship has to be vocation based. So uh, you need to attach your vocation, your qualification, your specialization with the area of entrepreneurship you are identifying. Next. Next, please. Then comes the qualifying as entrepreneur. When I say qualifying, it is not merely enough to have the academic qualification. Academic qualification certainly provides you the degree, the confidence, the status, at your level upon completion of your curriculum. But there has to be some bit of transformation in order to qualify from the qualified student to qualified entrepreneur. And I think we need to understand that phase as well. Then characteristics of entrepreneurs, then entrepreneurship management. Entrepreneurship essentially is a very systematic way of managing the affairs, managing the business. Then entrepreneurship and entrepreneurs as a professionals. We need to keep in mind that entrepreneurs are the professional. They carry out their own business, and when we look into the detail, we'll get to know more about it. Organization structure and enterprise. At every enterprise has to have some organizational structure so that the activities can be carried out in a desired and meaningful manner. Then comes the qualification part I have narrated, friends. There has to be combo, means combination of skill and will. Your degree, your qualification will provide you the skill. But then, there has to be will, there has to be a desire, there has to be even a determination, I would like to put it. Then transformation at enterprise. Whatever business idea, business plan you have got, in order to implement it, make it happen in real sense and in reality, there has to be a transformation and success and beyond entrepreneurship. I would also like to make a specific mention that once you start the enterprise and be the entrepreneur, there can be many successful things and achievements you would come across during your journey as entrepreneurship. Next, please. Now, what are the essential things? These are the one. Relevance and prospects of business. You must study, you must analyze what is the relevant thing and what is the prospect, what is the future in this specific business line. The nature of business. Okay, and when we think of about the nature of business, you need to essentially divide it into short-term and long-term perspectives. Short-term can be the immediate benefits, low-hanging fruits, what we call in terms of management. Then market and business scenario. What is the market scenario? What is the business scenario? What is likely to happen? What is likelihood? Where the things are moving? Then it calls for friends study and planning and hands-on feel and efforts. So let me again reiterate in short that mere qualification may not be sufficient to start and to become a successful entrepreneur unless you work for yourself and you have got that hands-on way of working at your enterprise level. Next. Again, few more things. Alignment of knowledge and entrepreneurship. This knowledge goes beyond qualification, friends. So let me make a mention once again. So whatever qualification, knowledge, academic background you have got, it has got to be aligned with the entrepreneurship and your enterprise. Then your personal traits and qualities, that makes a major difference. Then comes your mindset and your mindfulness. What is your mindset and what is your mindfulness? Meaning how much you are involved, how much you are determined, how much you are devoted to the cause of that enterprise or business. Then looking at opportunities and advancement. Like in every state of career, one must always explore and look out for the opportunities and advancement once you enter particularly in the entrepreneurship area. Then you need to analyze advantages and disadvantages. I think with your degree plus management qualification, you would be certainly in a position to analyze the advantages and disadvantages. We must have learned the SWOT analysis theory, and we can make such tools applicable at the initial stage itself, so that your success can be doubly ensured, friends. Next. It's good to know it better. You must have a fair idea what you are looking forward and where you are going to move. And it includes your, the basic can be the education and knowledge, which includes the qualification. Your visits and observations, once you give a thought to it, that I want to start a service setup, I want to start a workshop, I want to have a trading business. So you must accordingly visit. You should also observe. I think observations also happens to be a lifelong and great learning in my opinion. Then experience sharing. Ensure that you are interacted with a couple of experts who are already working in the field, including the success stories. Learn the success stories from them. That will be a great hand-holding to you at the initial stage. Study, reading and listening. These three stages one should never skip. One is the study. The study, I don't mean the curriculum. It goes beyond that. It is studying a business plan, business scenario, business situation, and then reading. Accordingly, you read it. Have the your backward working ready, and reading will be a great asset for you. And then listen others very carefully. It can be anybody's interview, it can be success story, it can be attending a seminar, it can be attending a lecture. So listening is very important. And then connect with society, media, and concerned literature. In a society, uh, uh, there we have got sizable number of entrepreneurs across us. There can be entrepreneurs in the family or in our friend circle, relatives. So, I mean, get connected with them. Also, stay connected with the media and study the concerned literature at the initial stage, particularly. Next, please. You should have analytical approach if you want to really go for entrepreneurship and opt entrepreneurship as a preferred career. So what it calls, essentially it calls for relevance of data-based initiatives. In the current era, only when the backup data is available, study material is available, research is also available. You must make very relevant usage of such data and details available. Then general data, specific data, locational data. Okay, then infrastructure related data. This phrase infrastructure plays a very vital role in success or otherwise in enterprise. So, you know, while identifying not only the type of enterprise you propose to go for, even that infrastructure, relevance of infrastructure is equally applicable with reference to the location, with reference to the perspective at a later stage, and so on and so forth, including the government policies, you know. So once you start looking into and learning, you will get to know. So this infrastructure is very important. Then comes social environmental data. What are the needs of the society while establishing your enterprise? And how is the environment? And when I say environment, it is not only pollution and air and water related environment. It is the business environment. It is the socio-economic environment of that region or the location where you intend to. Then availability of resources is very important, because you know friends, if you look at a MSME, MSME, I think somebody is getting connected.
Hello, all are requested to please unmute yourself. Mute yourself.
So friends, you know, availability of resources is very important, because the unique feature of MSME type of industry or the enterprise is that, you know, one has to manage the whole enterprise and affairs and the whole business with very limited number of resources. So availability of resources, that to the skilled resources, is very important, and that also has got to be ensured or doubly ensured. Next, please. Now, let's get prepared. Let's get, you know, ready for the to be the entrepreneurs. And what are the essentials for preparing as an entrepreneurship is that preparation at perception level. What is your projection? What are you really looking forward? What is your desire? What is your inside feel? Then getting ready to start. Then comes preparation before beginning, the preface, what we call otherwise. So all these stages, although they are small and easy to do, but I think, you know, if you ensure and follow it as a sort of checklist and must to do, then I think later on it will be very useful to you. As it is said in management, you know, planning always pays you. So once you plan properly, the execution becomes very safe and you are beneficial at a later stage and even successful. So your project of starting the enterprise and becoming entrepreneur. So you must have the the backup of planning and management. Then support from service providers or vendors. In the earlier slide, I made a mention of infrastructure. Friends, these vital aspects also become the part of the infrastructure when it comes to establishing, starting and managing a successful enterprise. Then comes availability of entrepreneurship support services. Like, there are many government agencies like uh, MSSIDC, MIDC, then District Industry Center. There are every nationalized bank has got a cell for entrepreneurship development. Then there are universities or even your own institutes where they have got some initiation, some incubation centers which are operating, and particularly what I'm really happy to make a mention over here is that the incubation centers which I have been visiting, majority of them they are attached to a education institute of university, and the students over there they are doing fantastic job, and I can see I am very hopeful that these incubation centers would certainly create and generate successful entrepreneurs out of the students. Then entrepreneurship coaching is very important, because although there are some structured um, programs and curriculum for entrepreneurship, but it is not enough to have that short-term or crash course on entrepreneurship unless you are backed up by coaching. So, fortunately nowadays there are expert and professional coaches available. So don't hesitate. Opt for the coaching, need-based coaching, I would put it, and so that you have got the total backup, and you are now ready to start as a working as an entrepreneur. Next, please. Now, service theories, these are few theories. And if you look at it and try to get the more details, and particularly if you analyze the analysis I made a mention earlier. So when you analyze the current and established entrepreneurs, you will come across with variety of entrepreneurs. Some are listed here. Theory of option. And well, I had two options, when I wanted to start or when I was given a chance to opt for entrepreneurship or service. And then I opted for service, or I opted for entrepreneurship. That is the theory of options. And we come across, when you interact and discuss with the entrepreneurs, you will come across with all these occasions and theories. Theory of choice. There could be a set of, and there has been majority of the entrepreneurs who has got that determination that nothing doing, I will not attend a job interview, I will have my own enterprise, and rather than seeking a job for myself, I would try and explore and be the job provider. So that is the theory of choice. Theory of choice, friends, also may take you through the choice of specific sector or area of entrepreneurs. Whether you want to have a manufacturing enterprise, service enterprise, trading enterprise, logistic enterprise, so on and so forth. Theory of family background. This also, there are sizable number of units, entrepreneurs who got this as a hereditary sort of backup from the family. That yes, my uncle was doing the business, my father has been a businessman, so I also joined him, or I diversified, either or. So this theory of family background also is quite predominant. Then economic theory of entrepreneurship choice. It can be illustrated in the way that yes, there in our family there was a kitty and there were some resources, some investment was available, and I made use of it. That is what could be the economic theory. Then social theory of entrepreneurship choice. People do desire that I should do something for my society or my locality or my township or whatever area you are operating or working at. So people even explore that. Then psychological theory of choice. Some people, out of the satisfaction or professional satisfaction, some people, they deliberately and specifically decide and determine to go for entrepreneurship. That can be the psychology, because they, from the bottom of their heart, they always feel and they achieve it. Success and inspiration based initiatives towards entrepreneurship. This also is a very important driving factor. If you listen some interview of a successful entrepreneur, particularly the young one, then we also get motivated, which is very obvious. We also get that spark that if he can be a successful entrepreneur, why not me? And that also becomes a driving factor. So, friends, these theories are nothing but the driving factor, and maybe one of these or two of these can be the case as and when an entrepreneur really starts thinking to be the entrepreneur. Next, please. Now, nature of the choices, systematic or available opportunity, thought, I mean, and these are the things I think you need to take it as a question to yourself. Was it a systematic or available opportunity? No, we used to have a shop, and it was at a prime location. I mean, joining that shop, and the business got further developed. Thoughtful or not, whether you had given a pakka thought, detailed thought or not. Then the rational or emotional, whether it was a decision, your decision to be entrepreneur was a rational or emotional. Rational means whether all pros and cons and that study part, whether you are dealt with that or not. And emotional means, as I mentioned, theory of practice, theory of hereditary, so on and so forth. Whether it was a conscious decision or otherwise. This is very important, because my friends, there are a couple of occasions when people did realize that, no, sir, I mean, perhaps the entrepreneurship was not my cup of tea. Well, I realized little late. And so, the bottom line lies that it has to be a conscious decision. Then your level of involvement. If you really want to take up entrepreneurship as a career, and that too a preferred career, as the topic of today's deliberation is, so you need to have 100% involved in your venture. Then once you are involved, your role becomes a stakeholder. Stakeholder is nothing but the responsibility and level of responsibility. Then backup of alternatives. I mean, while we are discussing about the preferred career as the entrepreneurship, always keep at the back of your mind that whether some alternative could be available to you, if at all. Like particularly there have been multiple cases. Those who ventured into entrepreneurship 3 years back or 2 years back, to be more precise. So, I mean, the sudden hit of COVID-19, I think it has made the major impact, very adverse impact, that too. So, those who had some alternative, they still survived and they could take it forward. So, friends, it is a word of caution that when you think and start working as an entrepreneur, always have some backup of alternative. Next. Next. Yeah, these are the dimensions related to entrepreneurship: suitability, inclination, and meaningful match. It must match with your qualification, your skill and will, that combination, your mindset, your temperament, your level of involvement. So these are the essential dimensions. Then fitness and preparedness. It must be fitting to you, and you should be prepared to ensure that you can drive it even in difficult situation. Service orientation is very important, because in entrepreneurship, that too particularly when you start as a MSME or the medium scale entrepreneur to begin with, your service orientation would be a great asset to you, let me tell you. Then determination to deliver. This goes beyond commitment. Commitment and all we talk in the management and corporate world. But in my opinion, entrepreneurship must be driven by determination so that you can deliver the desired one. Preference for the pilot seat. I mean, once you start your enterprise, you can't afford and you should not, rather my piece of advice or request to you, then you take the lead and I'm with you, don't worry. I mean, that's why I put the word that pilot seat. If you are the entrepreneur, you must occupy the pilot seat and have the takeoff, so that that type of leadership is very essential. Then intent and initiatives. Intent means आपके इरादे. What is your thought process? What are you looking forward? In what way you have made up your mind? And initiatives where mere intents are not enough. You may have fantastic intents, but if it is not backed up by adequate initiatives, perhaps success may keep some distance from you. Then finance, involvement and ROI means return on investment. So finance, then investment and ROI. This aspect of business, you must, and this sequence particularly, you must keep in mind. Number one is the finance, that is the availability, as a resource I had mentioned earlier. Then investment. Out of that, how much, when, and in what manner you intend to invest. And then what is the likelihood of the returns out of your investment. So if you fit this formula, it will be helpful to you. Next, please. Now, these are the prerequisites. That is, you should be prepared. You should have the complete understanding. And more than understanding, you should be convicted. So, if your conviction is very important, then it has to have the backup of commitment as well. You should be committed also. Then discussion. You must discuss. Feel free to have the not only discuss but the dialogue where it can be reciprocal. Listen, I have already mentioned earlier. So intend to initiate and involve. You should also be prepared, rather willing to initiate and involve. And you must have the integrated approach. In entrepreneurship, friends, you can't have a standalone or single way of looking or working in your business. So you must take all the aspects in view, and thereby, for that, it is essential to have the integrated approach at your business. Next. Now here, Peter Drucker, the famous management expert, world famous, and he has also incidentally laid down some objectives of a businessman or entrepreneur. And these are exactly the terminologies what great Peter Drucker has mentioned. So I have just reproduced it. Uh, Peter Drucker has given emphasis on marketing, innovation, human organization, financial resources, physical resources, productivity, social responsibility, and profit. So I think each and every word is that way self-explanatory. What incidentally, Peter Drucker has started these major tips for any enterprise or business are marketing. There has to be marketing. Many times it so happens, that whatever may influence a decision maker, one intends and starts the business, and perhaps there is no adequate and consistent marketing backup available, and then it becomes a major constraint. Then another thing is that you start a business or enterprise. there has to be some innovation attached to it. Innovation need not means very R&D based and ISRO type of innovations, you know. Innovation is nothing but doing the things differently. So you must have some innovative idea, something different, and again that innovation must be matching to the market requirements prevailing from time to time. Human organization is very important. The resources we have mentioned. Then financial we have discussed. Physical resources, that is a plant and machinery in simple terms, or whatever um, business tools you have got. It can be equipment if you have got a service industry. It can be the communication equipments if you have got a communication center setup. Then, but and irrespective of your business type of business, the productivity is very important. It can be a service center, it can be a call center, it can be a manufacturing unit, it can be infrastructure activity. Then incidentally, Peter Drucker, although that time the CSR word and was not famous or was not even evolved, he has made a very specific mention of social responsibility. Meaning, whatever enterprise we start and successful. I think like the entrepreneur also need to keep in mind that uh, he, uh, he has and he owes some social service responsibility or social responsibility. And then last is the profit. Peter Drucker has rightly concluded these steps with the word profit. I mean, you must have some profit out of the whatever business you are thinking or you are. So these are the things I just thought of making a mention. In your management curriculum, you must have studied this perhaps, but this can also be useful as an essential tip at this juncture, friends. So next, please. Next, please. Now, concept and functions. Summary of concepts. You should have, you must summarize your business concept before starting the enterprise. Then you must self seek the advice from others. But like few of the things in life, confidence perhaps is not transferable in my opinion. You can't forward the confidence, that are मेरा confidence आप ले लो. So, I mean, you have to, that's why the very title is very explanatory. That is, it has to be the self-confidence. Then observations and empathy. Both are, here are two terminologies. One is observe the things and then empathize. During your initiation of the enterprise and journey as an entrepreneur, you must empathize uh, to your stakeholders. Stakeholders means in simple language, whosoever is involved and attached to your business process. Then goal setting. We must have studied the process of goal setting in management. But as an entrepreneur also, you must have your goal setting. And again, as per your choice and needs of the business or enterprise, but have your goal setting that okay, during the financial year 21-22, I will establish the business. In 22, during my first balance sheet, I will perhaps that type of bottom line, including the margins. It can be expansion, it can be enhancement of technical know-how, so on and so forth. Then innovative initiatives, like what new things you intend to do. Have some backup theory available to you so that when you actually start working as an entrepreneur, these things will be very useful. In entrepreneur, the most important thing is an essential thing is risk-taking ability. What is the difference between a professional and entrepreneur? Risk taking is a common thing, but in entrepreneurship, perhaps the risk factor is confined to one or two people, whereas in professional, there can be, fact finding and risk analysis and failures and so many theories which are available. So risk taking ability for an entrepreneur and in entrepreneurship is very important. Then once you start your entrepreneurship activity, never forget that it is properly monitored and there is a mitigation of business risk. Perceive, keep in mind what is the likely risk and in what manner, to what extent, and in what way the risk can be mitigated. Friends, business itself is a risk. So risk cannot be eliminated and risk should not be eliminated if I want to put it that way. If you eliminate the risk, perhaps the business concept may get nullified. So don't eliminate the risk, but ensure that risk is properly and timely identified and mitigated as well. Next, please. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Then comes the role. Here, the role factor starts. I mean, what we otherwise, I mean, this we had done with. Next slide, please. Yeah. Here, role description for an entrepreneur. Yeah. Now, in management theories, we must have learned the job description. So, for any professional or expert or management expert, manager for that purpose. So, in the same manner, the entrepreneur also need to have the role description. And the role description essentially must cover the self-assessment, self-realization, your own study, then crystallize business idea. There could be multiple ideas coming across to you, coming to your mind, but crystallize them, freeze them, so that you will have clarity right at the initial stage. Then carry out systematic feasibility study, because business idea and its feasibility, these are the two different and distinct things. So out of the business idea, business plan, you must have your feasibility study. Then timely initiation, do it timely. Friends, in the whole business of enterprise or entrepreneurship, timely initiation, timely decision and timely execution is most important. And again, there lies some difference between a manager and entrepreneur. Manager can perhaps, at times, yes, perhaps can afford to say that, "Arey yaar, we'll see this on Monday." But for entrepreneur, I think that choice may or may not be available. So timely initiation, timely execution is very important. Then preparing the business plan. Have your business plan. Irrespective of your business, the nature of business, you must have some plan. Goal setting, I made a mention in the earlier slide. So derived out of the goal setting, you must prepare your business plan, or your goal setting itself essentially has to be based on the business plan and its effective execution. Thereafter, post execution, it is essential to have periodic review and revisions. There are two important phases, friends. One is the review. You must review what you have done, and you also then when you have a review and very systematic and sincere review, that will give the insight, that will you will get to know where do you stand, what you have achieved and what is left out. Out of the left outs, you will get to know where is the scope for improvement, which are the areas for improvement, specific areas for improvement, and then revisions. That revision portion, friends, will provide you the opportunity to again revisit your business plan and make the alterations on timely basis. So friends, this cycle of role description is very essential for any entrepreneur, particularly for a new entrepreneur and the young entrepreneur, so to say. Next, please. Now, factors impacting business. Broadly, there are two factors. One is the internal factor, another is the external factor. Friends, when I say internal factor, these are the situation or things more or less within your control. And when we talk of or think of the external factors, perhaps a majority of them, they are not in your control. So we'll just have a revision of these stages. The internal factor basically deals with the processes of your business, technology involved or attached, systems, services, suppliers, the vendors, the competitors, the market scenario, how the market share is. Then intermediaries, I mean, who are the agencies, which are the departments which are involved in the process of establishing and carrying out the business. This also would include the governance agencies. Then stakeholders, who are the stakeholders, who are the investor, it can be the banker, it can be the service provider. Then comes customers and end users. I mean, where my services, product, things manufactured by me would be used. So that end user is nothing but your customer. So these are the internal factors think of while deciding and undertaking the business. Now, on the same line, let's also revise or summarize the external factors impacting the business in entrepreneurship. That is a business culture. What is a business culture? Business culture is nothing but the pattern of business. Like, just to narrate, in logistic, this is what is the culture. This culture is nothing but the way of working. People work this way, traditionally, historically. Whether it is right or wrong can be a matter of discussion. So, again, as I mentioned, this is an external factor. Perhaps you may have very limited scope to work up. Then demography, the situation, geographical situation, the locational part of it. Nature of business. The nature of business is itself is like this. There can be occasion where you may be involved in at the middle of the business or the end of the business when it comes to the whole business cycle. For instance, suppose you are into packaging of finished material. So your will be there only once the product is ready and prepared for dispatch. Because that is the nature of business. I just thought of narrating a couple of examples because of the time frame what we have got. Then business economics. How the ROI pattern, how the investment pattern moves more or less in the business sector, particularly business or particularly the set of industries. Then policies, again external factor but very vital. What the government policies are and what is the likelihood. You can also, I initially made a mention about the analytical approach. In your analytical approach, you must also essentially study the policies, what has been the pattern. Whether the policies are currently prevailing or not can be the different thing. But what has been the trend of policy? It can be anything, that government has changed the policy after every 5 years. Earlier, there used to be 5-year plans, prior to coming of Niti Aayog. Then, along with policies and equally vital is the politics. What is the politics? I mean, we are not talking about the election politics or political parties politics. When I say I make a mention of politics, essentially it would cover generally what has been the outlook of the government, irrespective of their banner, towards a industry or towards that type of business. Then the research and development, how the industry has technologically and functionally has undergone the change. Like, just to narrate you the example, take the case of welding technology. There have been changes taking place. Take the case of, any processing. There have been changes. So what is the more or less pattern, the duration, the type and nature that you should know? If you study it, it will be good to know this. It will be better to know this adequately. and design technology. Design also is essentially includes the business design what you are thinking of. Next, please. Resource mobilization, identification of resources. It can be anything. It can be human resources. It can be machinery. It can be plant and layout. It can be location. It can be transportation. It can be logistics. It can be availability of power for that purpose or raw material. Then business expertise. It may not be always possible that the entrepreneur yourself, you are expert in a given business. And although you are expert, perhaps you need further expertise, So whether that further expertise, which is the business expertise, is available or not. Status of resources, that is required versus available, is very important. Merely number of headcount, number of manpower may not suffice, friends. What you really need is the skilled, experienced and qualified manpower. They identifying the gaps in resources. Identify the, like what I mentioned earlier, the risk mitigation. Identification of gaps in resources is equally important. It can be in any resource. Fortunately, in last 4 5 years, the power situation in Maharashtra is comparatively improved. But there were occasions, there used to be huge power shutdowns or failures, you may call it either or. So that is the gap in resources. I mean, and it used to hamper many sincere and resourceful entrepreneurs about their business plan, So filling up the gaps. I mean, the gaps again are likely to be there, despite you are making full-fledged efforts. So once you know the gaps and if you identify the gaps, you can certainly fill it up. So ensure the process of filling up the gaps which are identified. Then optimum utilization of resources. For entrepreneur, the usage of resources is very important, and that usage has to be optimum utilization of resources. Business then for this, I would suggest, and I have evolved one concept, that is, business scorecard with reference to business. Like a student gets the scorecard in his or her exam or any academic assignment they carry out. Likewise, particularly a small entrepreneur, the new entrepreneur, must frame out their own business scorecard. It can be annual basis, it can be on quarterly basis. Again, the flexibility and choice lies, but that will, friends, give you the idea and real picture. Where do you stand? How was the year which has been passed? Whether it was good, better, fair, unfair, profitable, not. So that type of system, if you evolve for yourself, that will be certainly helpful to you. Next. Steps to succeed in business. Respect and pride for work and business is very essential if you want to succeed, if you want to become a successful, because it is not enough to be an entrepreneur. You must be a successful entrepreneur, and for that you must have pride, whatever is the nature of your business. It can be anything. So you must have pride in that. Then combination of skill and willingness to work. I mean, if there are occasions, and the occasions do come occasionally or frequently, but you should be willing to work for yourself. There is no substitute to that at that point of time, friends. Then collation of head, heart, hands at business. Head, that is your thought process. Heart, your feelings, your coming out, your attachment, your involvement, your determination, and hands, actual performing the job, actually doing the hands-on, what I mentioned earlier. And systematic and sustained approach. Your approach has to be systematic and sustained, long-lasting. There has to be consistency in your such approaches in the business. Next, please. Few more steps. Desire to drive with determination. Zeal for betterment. If you start, don't get confined to that sense of satisfaction. Yes, now I am entrepreneur. there is a display that so and so is the proprietor owner of so and so unit, etc. So once you start, there has to be zeal for betterment, and this betterment should not be and need not be confined to the financial betterment. It has to be the improvement in business, the business pattern, the business returns. So you must maintain and have that zeal. Then it has to have the backup of drive for success. I mean, whatever you initiate, you should be mentally convinced that yes, my initiation must result in success. That will make you a successful entrepreneur in a real sense, friends. Then ensuring balancing acts. While doing so, I mean, things would not be always very straight and favorable to you. Let me tell you, there would be challenges, multiple challenges. There would be constraints. There would be difficult situation, very difficult situation. Friends, whatever you must have read or come across in last 1.5 year during the pandemic. So, I mean, the balancing act on such occasions are very, very important. And exploring the excellence. When you start in your enterprise, in your business, always drive and explore the excellence. Only improvise your business in real sense. Avoidable flaws and preventive tips. I think here are few tips. I will just summarize it. Idea is to give a complete picture with reference to the entrepreneurship as a perspective and that to a career option. So inadequate knowledge and capability. If you jump into entrepreneurship without proper knowledge, adequate knowledge and capability, that is a skill will. That can be the flaw. And the another tips are, if you are not prepared adequately and studied the business cycle, but again in a hurried manner start your business, don't do that. Lack of determination. If you are not determined, if you are not motivated enough, don't venture out for a venture. Don't do that. My advice would be opting for business as a last career option. बाकी कुछ नहीं मिला. I didn't get the admission for the post graduation, or अरे I wanted to have do that and I didn't get. So I thought of why not to do some business. चलो कोई business कर लेते हैं. Don't take that type of approach or option while attempting or starting your enterprise. So in my opinion, friends, the entrepreneurship is a very sincere and full-time business. I mean, the entrepreneurs very rarely get the casual leave or that type of relaxation. So be very clear about it. Not very keen and willing. If you are not very willing, no, it was our family business, and my father and grandfather, they started telling me, if you don't do it, then who will do it? And then I had no option but to go for this business or entrepreneurship. Don't do that. And not being critical and choosy. You should be very critical and choosy. Why this business? Initially, I put this few points to you for your deliberation. You should be choosy while selecting entrepreneurs and also selecting the specific enterprise or industry as a business. Next, please. So these are the avoidable flaws. We'll move to the next. Few more. Not possessing adequate knowledge and skills. Mismatch in choosing the business. No, yeah, this is what not I was looking forward. I wanted to start a fabrication shop, but I wanted to produce only the the furniture used in multiple uses, and not the collapsible gates for that purpose. So there is a mismatch. So don't do this mismatch. Always avoid and ensure that such mismatch is avoided at the initial stage. Getting carried away. Don't get carried away. Are my two of my friends, they opted to have this venture in partnership, and I just joined them. Don't do anything just while entering or stepping into entrepreneurship. Then lack of patience and perseverance. You must have pakka, proper patience and perseverance both. And any lack on those fronts, I think you should give a second thought. Having inadequate support and backup. You should have adequate support and backup, be it the financial, be it the technological, be it even emotional for that purpose and infrastructure wise. So ensure that. So these are a few more preventive tips. If you follow them, you can prevent the probable failures in the future or near future. Next, please. Now, some more possibilities, that is the personal commitment, short duration perspective, that if you go for a short duration, initially I mentioned that your business perspective has to be short term and long term. If you are thinking only a short term, then perhaps it may not be adequate or it may not be sufficient. Then your attitude and approach both, whether you have got that attitude to or knack to go into entrepreneurship or business, and your approach. So mere attitude not is not enough, friends. Your attitude and entrepreneurial attitude has to have the backup of proper approach. Then comes missing the business vision. You must have a pakka vision about your own business. Let it be very small to begin with, but have a vision where you want to go forward. Your goal setting and business core approach may be perhaps helpful to you for this. Then proper, adequate, and effective communication. As I told you, the leadership or the management in entrepreneurship lies with an individual. It could be you if you want to go for or not for it. So you must have proper, adequate, and effective communication skills. Ensure that you have got it. You may be technically very sound, but if you can't communicate, if you can't convince the people, then perhaps you may not be a successful entrepreneur. Then level of interest and enthusiasm. Initially I took lot of interest, but then I started thinking otherwise. Yeah, I mean that should not be there. You must have the interest and enthusiasm, friends. These aspects essentially comes out of the your involvement in the whole process and your mindset put together. Next. Few more. Sense of responsibility and responsiveness. Responsibility and accountability we have discussed. What is essentially or equal required is responsiveness. How you respond, big or small, a communication, it can be a feedback, it can be a confirmation. So you need to be responsive because in entrepreneurship, two things are very vital. Number one, friends, you have to operate with very bare minimal resources or manpower, and your customers become very demanding. So if you are not adequately responsive, there can be some problems on the marketing and customer front. Then your maturity level, how much you are matured. There could be some flaws, some failures. I mean, that's what happens even in service also. So you should be matured enough with reference to the entrepreneur way of working. Dealing and extending with courtesy. You should be very courteous because that is very important. That only would help you to strengthen and prosper your business. Timely decision making is very important. Time, I have already mentioned, things have to be timely. You can't afford to keep it pending for 2 days and there is no question of weekend ke baad dekhenge and that type of thing. You must update, friends. My sincere advice to you and particularly those who intend to and desire to go for entrepreneurship, that you must update your ask. This ask is nothing but attitude, skills and knowledge. I repeat again, that is your attitude, your skills and knowledge, again with reference to entrepreneurship. Then if you should update it, because mere graduation, mere post graduation, that will give you the footing. But unless you have got that perfect working on ask as a narrated, you can't be a successful entrepreneur. Then adaptability and flexibility. You should be adaptable and flexible. Things may move or may not move in a desired manner what you have thought of while launching the business. But you should be adaptable and change, flexible to have the change, to implement the change. Instantly, I have made a mention about the alternative also. When you think of any entrepreneurship as a career option. So these are the couple of things I thought of, few tips I thought of sharing with you. Next, please. Now, here are the tips to succeed. I mean, the failures we have seen, but the failure was a piece of advice. But what emphasis I would like to give is that in order to become a successful entrepreneur, you must take genuine interest, learn thoroughly beyond your academics, be analytical, respond effectively and timely. I would like to add to it. Respond effectively and timely to any stakeholder. Ensure balancing act. Don't overdo anything in any form. So ensuring balancing act would be extremely important. That is important tip to succeed. And be informal but not casual. In entrepreneurship, by virtue of your organization setup and the type of working, you can be informal, but never be casual. What is the difference between informal and casual? There, suppose, in entrepreneurship, you may not follow the working hours very hard and fast, but don't be casual. Okay, if you don't come tomorrow, fine, and after tomorrow also is fine. So that is what is the casual approach. It can be with reference to your colleagues, it can be with reference to your suppliers, it can be with reference to a customer, to the banker, and so on and so forth. So overall, just to summarize, you can be informal, but don't be casual in your business or next. Next. Again, few more tips. Remain constant and consistent. Dedicated delivery.
Time is wasting.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, then planning and punctuality. Graceful and have gestures. Receive suggestions and offer solutions as an entrepreneur, because that is extremely essential in that type of. Then adhere to the accountability. You must hold your accountability, your responsibility, and adhere them as a business leader at your enterprise. Next, please. Next. So friends, these were the few tips to become a successful entrepreneur, and uh, how entrepreneurship can be a career, not only career, as a preferred career. So it was pleasure sharing this concept with you, and I'm thankful to the institute for giving this platform and opportunity. Any questions if the participants have, I would be happy to respond some of them depending upon the time availability. So it's back to Madam now. Over to you, Madam.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. It was very encouraging session and informative session. I hope it will enlighten all the participants. Now, the question answer session. So I would invite all the participants. Please, do you have any question you can ask? It. First, raise your hand and then unmute yourself and then ask the question.
Any question, feel free.
Yes, Archana. Archana Bhosle.
Yes, hello, sir. Archana
Yes.
Bhosle here. Thank you for the overall explanation on your knowledge sharing with us. Basically, I have one question. Like we were looking out for starting up an enterprises of nursery business, but only due to lack of support, that is lack of financial support from the government. We did not go for it. So just would need your suggestion. What would you suggest? With regards to financial support, which we lacked out.
Nursery treatment, is it? I mean, what was the business plan you have? If you could repeat it.
The business of nursery, like plants and nursery. And my husband had a great experience in that field, so we were thinking of starting up our own nursery, plant nursery. But
Okay,
due
fine.
to financial support, we tried out for many options, like government options as well as private, but nothing was in our budget, or in short, due to lack of financial support, we did not end up doing it. So
Okay.
what would you suggest? I just need your opinion or your suggestions with that.
Good. I think that is a good idea and quite innovative one also. I would suggest, and as you have mentioned, you have explored couple of government schemes and facilities available. You can
Yes, sir.
specifically work along with this NABARD. NABARD is focusing on
Mm-hmm.
agro-based activities. So perhaps
Okay.
they may help you out even going out of the way. Number one. Number two, there are two schemes available, one at central level and one at state level. That is Prime Minister Employment Guarantee Scheme and Chief Minister's Employment Guarantee Scheme.
Okay.
One more
Uh-huh.
option available particularly to you is that there are some um, uh, um, financial facilities available to women entrepreneurs, particularly the new entrepreneurs or upcoming entrepreneurs. So these are the
Uh-huh.
3 or 4 options you can make, I mean, attempt again and explore something.
Okay.
I think you should get adequate support and maybe through madam or through the institute,
Mm-hmm.
if need be, we can
Uh-huh.
further interact on this. But don't give up your idea and thought process. It's a good business plan,
Yes, sir.
quite a potential one, and that is what
Yes,
is
sir.
required. So you can, I mean, number one, to start working in detail and also explore multiple
Mm-hmm.
options of financial and otherwise support. Where are you based in? Are you based in Pune?
Yes, I am located in Wakkad itself.
Wakad itself. Okay, fine. So
Mm-hmm.
these are things. I mean, suppose if you have got some base in semi urban area, then the nearest agriculture university also can be of some help to you. So explore that.
Okay.
Forest department
Okay.
also have got some plan in the social forestry
Mm-hmm.
part of it. So I mean,
Okay.
explore. You have got at least 4 or 5 alternatives, and I could see
Okay.
good potential in this business plan. And
Yes,
all the best for
actually,
that.
there is a huge potential because my husband is he's already having immense knowledge and experience in that field. That's why we were, thinking of this business.
Great. Don't give it up. Take it forward, and
Okay.
don't
Thank you
worry.
for your
Good luck.
guidance, sir.
Good luck to you.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely, definitely, sir. I will check out with NABARD. I think we missed out that part. I'll definitely check out with NABARD.
Please.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the guidance.
Hello, sir. Another participant want to ask you a question.
Yes.
Rohini?
Yeah,
Yes,
please.
Yes.
myself Rohini Mule. Sir just explained before few minutes ago to how to choose two different businesses. Means someone suggest low what say in Hindi कि कम झंझट हो और ज्यादा income हो और our interest is something different. So can you point out our detailed explanation or your idea of that? Can you give us a suggestion about that?
Okay. What I meant was that, and why I seriously think about it is that the if you want to venture out and start your business, there could be challenges and multiple challenges. So don't opt the easier one, because easier one perhaps may or may not meet your requirements and give you the returns. Okay. So apparently initially there may be some constraints and problems. It can be in any form. Okay.
Okay.
But if you overcome that, it can be the location, it can be the hardship, it can be mobilization of the resources. At times the
Yeah.
getting the right people becomes a problem, traveling becomes a problem. Okay, so
Yeah.
but you have to
Yeah.
overcome that, and if you overcome that, then there would be a way of success thereafter. That's what I mean. So otherwise, you can have the easy choice. Uh,
Yeah,
uh,
most can I
yes,
interrupt you? Yeah,
please, please.
most of the time when ladies want to entrepreneurship something, there is always easiest way solution from society, familiar, and all these things. So that's why I have curious about that. How to choose a correct business path? That's why I'm asking this.
No, no, I don't agree with your first submission that lady should always opt for the softer part or easy part of enterprise. That is not the case. I mean, well, there is
Okay.
a time constraint. I know one success story of a lady entrepreneur who had different product range, and when the corona knocked down, she changed the product, and it was so successful initiative.
Okay.
So her turnover, which used to be 6 now, last year she crossed 5 crores plus, and she got the
Oh,
world's best lady entrepreneur. She is in Pune. Maybe if you are interested, we can have some interactive session with her. So
yeah,
direct
definitely, sir.
direct from the, so that, I mean, don't carry this impression. Please convey to at your
Yeah.
home also. So
Okay.
don't worry. You take it forward.
Okay.
Sir. Be
Thank
successful.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody else?
Can we take the next question, sir?
Please, please, please.
Yes. Dr. Ravinder, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good morning, sir.
Yes.
Thank you
Morning,
for a
morning,
very
Dr.
nice
Sir.
session. It was a really informative session given by you. My question is for doing any kind of startup business, in addition to financial, should the entrepreneur be very sound in knowledge on the area in which he want to start the business? That is maybe technical, manufacturing, and so on.
Yes, I mean, there is no substitute to technology updation. And Dr. Saab, since you mentioned tapping or initiating a startup, the very beauty and necessity of startup lies in its being very unique. So apart from technology updation, the uniqueness, the distinct feature of your business plan has also to be there. So if you establish both the things equally, then I think you are more or less ready to start the startup and take the business plan further. So, well, financials, as you mentioned, that they are essential, but the technology update and uniqueness when it comes to the utility of the services or the product or the final output of the startup is concerned. So that is also equally essential. So here the balancing act, as I have been mentioning, may be helpful to such people, Dr. Saab.
Great,
I
sir.
hope
Thank you very much, sir.
I have responded. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks. You are most welcome, Dr. Saab. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Any other participant wants to ask the question? So can we move further?
Yeah, yeah, you can. Yes, please go ahead, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. It was very encouraging session. I hope I'm sure you have enlightened all the participants, answer their question very informatively. Sir, I would like to give you a vote of thanks on the behalf of our institute, Yashaswi Education Society, International Institute of Management and Science. You are very well explained what are the steps to succeed in a business. What are the things which are must for the young entrepreneur. Your session is encouraging, sir, and I'm sure the youth has inspired and youth to take up the entrepreneurship as a career option, and now they become the job provider rather than remain the job seeker. So they inspire it. Your session has inspired them. So thank you so much, sir. Dr. Dattatreya Ambudkar,
All
sir.
the best,
Thanks.
all the best, and thanks to you, madam. Thanks to the institute. Thank
Yes.
Dr. Sir.
Thank you so much, sir. So now it's time to our next guest speaker, Dr. Sanjay Lakde. Sir, welcome you, sir. I yes.
Audible?
So yes, sir. You are clearly audible, sir. Yes, sir. So I welcome you, sir, on the behalf of our institute. So Dr. Sanjay Lakde, Dean and CEO of Pimpri Chinchwad College of Engineering, Pune. So I am very proud privileged to introduce Dr. Sanjay Lakde, sir. He is having a total 33 years of experience. His area of interest are in innovation, intellectual property rights, TQM, manufacturing system, greenhouse structure, agro equipment solution. He has completed his master in designing engineering, and he has completed his PhD in production engineering. He has trained more than 5,000 students in quality circle, IPR, entrepreneur development program, and innovation. He has also traveled for training and conferences at Israel, Japan, South Korea, USA. Dr. Sanjay Lakde sir got many awards, and he has his publication patented his 5 patent published. So few of them he got awards as Quality Champion Gold Award by Quality Council of India, New Delhi, December 2020. Best Innovation Award for Automotive Components Manufacturer Association of India in December 2017. Rajram Bhai Patil National Award for Promoting Engineering Teacher for the year 2012, awarded by the Indian Society for Technical Education, New Delhi. His 5 patents published. He is a PhD guide for Savitribai Phule Pune University, guiding 6 PhD scholars. His topic for today's session is patent drafting for the beginner. So we are very privileged to have you, sir, with us. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam, for introducing me. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible and you are clearly audible, sir.
Okay. Thank you. So today we are going to discuss about patent drafting for beginners. I know that you have all MBA and MCA students. Only MBA or MCA or any other students?
So it is open for all. There are students for MBA, MCA, and there are faculties also.
Okay, good. So today's session it will be a preliminary session related to patent drafting. So without wasting much time, I will start. Now, if you look at the world patent application statistics, there are around lakhs of patents filed worldwide. China is topping this particular list. If you look at almost more than 84% of patents filed in the office of IP are from China, USA, Japan, and Korea and European Patent Office, and rest is whole world. So if you compare in the next slide, you will find that the scenario of patent filing, that China filing almost 14 lakh patents in a year, US filing 6 lakh, around 6 lakh patents in a year. India files hardly 53,000 patents in 2019. This is the scenario of 2019. And this is the statistics that I have taken it from WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. And in that there is again a classification that there are resident patents and non-resident patents. Now, if you look at the classification in China, you will find that hardly 11% are non-resident Chinese who are filing the patent. But in case of India, it is 63%. That means almost more than 60% people are non-resident who are filing the patent. So this we need to improve. So India is a huge country, and lakhs of engineers are coming out, lakhs of higher study graduates are coming out, postgraduates are coming out, PhDs are coming out, but the patent filing rate is very, very poor. And if you want to stand in the Global Innovation Index, now we say proudly that we are in top 50. Our ranking in Global Innovation Index is at 46. Last year it was 48, now it is 46. So we have to strive hard that we should reach in top 10. To reach in the top 10, we need to do a lot of innovation, a lot of research, and accordingly you have to file a lot of patents, and that is what is expected. So why there is a huge need that the Indian students should file number of patents, and recently Government of India has reduced the patent filing fees for institutions. So it is now a positive part that now you can have your patent filed at a very, very less cost. Now, if you look at the definition given by Dr. Mashekar, now creation of knowledge is an intellectual work. What he says that 21st century will be the center of knowledge. Indeed, the century of mind, innovation is the key for production as well as for processing of knowledge. So innovation plays a very important role when you start working on any project or any product or any process. A nation's ability to convert knowledge into wealth and social good through the process of innovation will determine its future. In this context, issues like generation, valuation, protection, exploitation of intellectual property are going to become critically important all around the world. So Dr. Mashekar, the ex-Director General of CSIR, is very keen that we have to convert this knowledge into wealth, and that will happen only through intellectual property rights. So you have to protect your property, whatever property, as I will tell you why this is called as a property. Now, when you buy some property, like when you buy a car or when you buy a bungalow or a flat, then you register it at the registrar office, and then you create a document, and that document says that now this particular XYZ bungalow is in your name and you are the owner of that particular bungalow. And you have all the rights to use that bungalow. You can give it on rent, you can use it for your own sake, or you can sell it. That right is with you. Similarly, this is an intellectual property. Now, this intellectual property is a intangible property that you cannot see, but again, it has a great value, and you can license it, you can sell it, you can use it, you can manufacture it. So we'll be discussing all about this in this particular session. Now, we will be talking about today as patent. Now, what is a patent? It is a property right. It is one of the property right, intellectual property right, granted by the government to an inventor. So you as an inventor, if you do something new and you feel that this is something new, nobody in the world is developed this kind of system, so you can file a patent and protect your work. So it is a property granted by the government to the inventor, to an inventor, to exclude others. So once you file your patent, you are excluding others from making, using, offering for sale or selling the invention or importing the invention. And this is for a limited period of time in exchange of public disclosure of invention when the patent is granted. So today in this session, I will be explaining about what are the features, how you can file a patent, what are the ways of filing the patent, what is the process, what is the fees, where is the office for filing the patent. All those details we will discuss, and by the end we'll be answering your queries. So as it is said that it is a territorial right, negative right, and for a limited period of time. So you are excluding others from doing work on that particular invented product process. These are some of the patent grant certificates. The first one is a United States of America patent grant certificate, and second one you can see is Indian patent. So once your patent is granted, you will get this kind of certificate, and this is valid for 20 years. And you can use this patent for creation of wealth. So it is very important that you have to use this patent or property, intellectual property, for generation of wealth. Now, what is patentability criteria? No, the most important thing that what can be patented. There are various kind of maybe misnomers that I will file a patent of an idea. Idea is not patented. So all these misnomers we are going to discuss today. So to file a patent, first and the most important thing required is novelty. So you should have new, unknown, not published, undisclosed, not in public domain, not discussed, not used, not sold, even experimental use also, a product or process, then it is called as a novel. Now, usually what psychology, human psychology is that if you discover or if you invent something new, you have enthusiasm that I must tell to others. So you approach maybe newspaper and you give a clipping in the newspaper saying that you have done this and this such invention. You should not do it. When you do this, it goes in public domain and you lose the right to file a patent. So novelty is very, very important. You should know that it is a novel. You have to go for prior art search. We'll be discussing about that. So nobody in the world, we are not discussing only in India, even though it is a territorial right. You should see that nobody in the world has developed the thing that you are saying you have developed. So you have to study, you have to search for the patents applied all over the world. And you have to say that your patent is different than the others. And never try to disclose it. It happens that a team of people are working on a particular project, say 8 to 10 people. And in enthusiasm, one of them writes a blog. So as soon as the blog gets published, you will find that it goes in public domain. So you cannot file a patent. You should not publish even a research paper, because when you publish a research paper, it goes in again public domain. So you cannot file a patent. So publishing a paper is avoiding others to file a patent on it. So those who don't want to go for filing a patent, they can very well publish their research work in journals, international journals. So the most important thing that you should not disclose it, even not discuss it. If you are in a public place and you have declared that such and such thing is done by you, again it goes in public domain. Somebody may copy your work. So keep it a secret and try to file, if you are confident about your work, try to file the patent as early as possible. So the first criteria for patentability is novelty. Second criteria is non-obviousness or inventive step. Now, non-obviousness is an expression of the degree of difference that an invention must offer to qualify for a patent. So if there is some existing product and you have done certain modifications in that, and you have to prove that the degree of varying that particular with the prior art. So whatever prior art which is available, it should be different from that, and you should be able to express that it is different. Some inventions can establish non-obviousness by mere description of the invention, while others require proof of significant improvements. So if a qualified person is reading your work, he should feel that yes, there is something new. This has not happened, or this particular process is going to reduce the time for manufacturing or the cost of manufacturing, or will improve the quality, or will improve the efficiency of that particular thing. So you should be able to prove that it has a significant improvement. That is an inventive step or non-obviousness. And the third and most important thing is utility. So it should have an industrial application. So you have to see that whatever process product that you have developed must have an industrial application. Means it should be put to use and you have to earn wealth out of your patent. So try to remember these three patentability criteria: novelty, non-obviousness, and utility. Now, what is not patentable? So we will discuss about what is patent, how it is to be done, and it is very easy to file a patent. But there are certain conditions under section 3 and 4 of Indian Patent Act describes that what is not patentable. So frivolous are inventions claiming anything obviously contrary to well-established natural laws. So you say that if you have developed something which is against the gravitational pull, maybe people will say it is good, but may not be accepted as it is against the well-established natural laws. So you have to prove, even though say there are people say that we have developed a perpetual motion machine, but nobody in the world has proved to have a perpetual motion machine. So that is something which is not patented. Inventions contrary to public order, morality of which causes serious prejudice to human, animal or plant life or health or to the environment. So if you have developed something which is causing something maybe to the human life, animal life, plant life, then it is not patent. Discovery of any living things or non-living substances occurring in nature. So if you say that I have invented this species of some insect which nobody has seen, you cannot file a patent on that because it is a natural thing. Even if you are using some kind of maybe plant or some extracts from the plant or fruits or animals, you have to take a permission from NBA, National Biodiversity Authority. So before using these things and filing a patent, you have to take the permission from National Biodiversity Authority saying that I'm going to use this part of this particular plant, this part of this animal, and I have a critical combination of these to improve the characteristics, maybe as a drug, maybe as a fuel or anything. So you cannot use any living things. Discovery of mere forms of new substances or mere discovery of new property or new use under section 3D is not patented. Substances obtained by mere admixture resulting only in the aggregation of properties of the components. I'll tell you that if you say that I have an invention, that I have a helmet and I have put a light onto that helmet. So it is obvious that if you put a light onto that helmet, it's going to glow and show you the path. But if you prepare a particular circuit into your helmet and will automatically glow whenever there is a requirement. So if you are traveling nowadays, you will find that all the luxury cars are having this kind of facility that the headlights will start automatically when you are traveling in a tunnel. Or when the light intensity goes down, your headlights will start automatically. Or your wiper will start automatically when the rain starts. So this is something which is new. Even though the wiper mechanism is there or the headlight is there, but there is a internal arrangement, a logic that you have developed to start and stop automatically for a particular situation. So even though you have done some kind of maybe combination of items, but there is a logic behind it, and then you can file a patent for that. Mere arrangement or rearrangement or duplication of known devices is again not patentable. Plants, animals in whole or any part of them other than genetically modified microorganisms are not patented. Method of agriculture or horticulture is not patented. Process for medicinal, surgical, curative, diagnostic, or treatment of human beings and animals is not patented. Mathematical or business methods or algorithms, programs, computer programs are not patented in India. So if you want to file a patent on your algorithm, you are not supposed to file a patent, but you can file a copyright of that. Literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic work are covered under Copyright Act, which is another form of intellectual property right. So you cannot file a patent on any musical note or any artistic work. You can file a copyright of that. And similarly, you can file a copyright of your computer program or algorithm or a business model. Mere scheme or rule of method of performing mental act or method of playing games or presentation of information, topography of integrated circuits, these are not patented, but you can very well use it in some different IP. An invention which is an effect of traditional knowledge or which is an aggregation or duplication of known properties of traditional knowledge or components. This is not patented, but you can file a GI of it, geographical indication. So there are various ways by which you can protect your intellectual property. Like the traditional knowledge of manufacturing something, maybe Pythony in Python, which is a weaving traditional skill of those people in Python. So that can come under GI, geographical indications, but it is not under patent. Inventions relating to atomic energy are not patentable under Section 4 of Patent Act. So anything which is going to harm our country, maybe you can use the atomic energy for making something explosives or some kind of item which is not used for some positive work, but for the negative work, then we are not in a position to file a patent on that under Section 4 of Patent Act. Now we'll see what we can write in your patent. This is one simple patent application. I've taken basically a US patent because a patent can be filed anywhere in the world. So you can file in India, you can file in US, you can file in China, depending upon the patent, the work that you have done and its application in that particular country and can be put to use in that particular country. So you should have the title of the patent. Then who is the inventor, the name of the inventor. There are patent attorneys or patent agents. They facilitate you to file your patent. Because this language of patent filing is something which is a legal language. So you have to prove yourself that your work is different from others. And if you can prove it on paper, the patent application goes to the examination and the examiners will verify it and grant you a patent. So there is a priority date and number. So you will get the patent number. When you file a patent application, you will get an application number, the date, time on which you have filed the patent. Because patent is the right given to a person who files first. So if somebody files a patent on the same application that you are developing, say just few seconds before your patent, the patent belongs to him if it is of similar nature. So this priority date and time is very important. So you have to see that your patent should be applied as early as possible. Then you have patent publication number, publication date, abstract, and the most important part is drawing. Now, when you want to file a patent, your concept about your work should be very clear. All detailing should be ready with you. You have to draw a 2D diagram, a line diagram, mention all the numbers and give the details of your drawing. I'll show you, this is the drawing wherein you have to give all the numbering to each and every part, and a complete description of your patent drawing is very, very essential and is required when you want to file a patent. Then you have to write about the field of invention. So it is something that where this particular invention will be applicable. A description of prior art. So you have to describe that in the world who has done similar kind of work. You can cite the work done by similar patents, maybe a Chinese patent, a Korean patent, or a US patent, or a Japanese patent. You can cite the prior art. Then summary of your invention. So whatever invention that you have done, you have to give a summary stating all the introduction about your work, how you initiated your work, brief description of the drawing. So you have to give complete description of your drawing and detailed description of your drawing. So this is very, very essential because usually the examiners, those who are going to examine your patent, will never come to you to see the things. And your description should be such that it should be foolproof. It should give all the explanation of your work. If it is not foolproof, that it is something is missing in that, then the examiner will ask you queries, and that will again delay the process of patent granting. And the most important part, that when you file a patent, you have to write about the claims. So what you are claiming about your patent, a very, very important part. So we'll be discussing about the claims part in detail. Now, when you look at the patent procedure, the first thing that comes is the invention. So what is your invention? How it is beneficial to the society? You have to do some kind of experimentation. You should be ready with some kind of experimentation with you. You should be confident about your invention. Then you have to go for prior art search. When you, the general process of prior art search for a beginner, that you can go to Google patent. Just like Google as a search engine, you have a separate search engine called as Google patent. So Google patent, when you go to Google patent and put some keywords, the keywords include your invention. So when you put the keywords in the invention in Google patent, you will get a lot of results. And from that, you have to search that by going to each and every result. That's whoever in the world has done similar kind of work, you have to go through that patent, study that patent, and see that how your work is different from that work. Then that is a very, very important part. Otherwise, that fellow who has filed a patent in maybe in US or Germany may sue you in the court of law, saying that you have copied his work. So it is a very serious and very important part that you have to do prior art search before filing the patent. So once you are confident that your patent, your invention, innovation is working, nobody in the world is having similar kind of work, then you start patent drafting process. So you have to write your patent application as we have discussed just now. The field of invention, description, figure, explanation. If you have some results, you can showcase those results. You can showcase some graphs, how it is beneficial to the society. All those things you have to write in the patent drafting. And then comes the patent filing. No, you have to file the patent to patent office and the prosecution. So usually you will find, if you look at the flow chart, initially, if you are not confident enough for the invention or innovation that you have developed, but you feel that it is something different, and in a span of time you can prove that it is different, then you usually go for provisional specification filing. So there are forms available. I am going to explain that. So you have to fill the form of provisional specification file. Then you get a time of 12 months, that means 1 year, to work on your patent, your innovation or invention, and file complete specification within 1 year. If you do not file the complete specification within 1 year, your patent gets abandoned. So you have to file it again. And that is a very critical part because your own work will be against your prior art. So again, you have to do some modification, you have to change the title, and so many things are required. So see that your patent provisional specification you should complete within 12 months and file the complete specification. So government has given you a time of 1 year to work on your, develop the prototype, test the prototype, get the results, and once you are satisfied, you can file the complete specification of your work. That is what is complete disclosure of your work. Along with that, you should go for publication. So usually the publication of your work will happen within 18 months. But there is a provision of early publication wherein your patented work will be published maybe in a span of 1 month. So you have to pay some additional fees by which your patent will be published immediately. So once your patent is published, people all over the world are going to read your work. This is very, very important. Your patent should get published. So unless you file complete specification, your patent will not be published. So once you file the complete specification, your patent will be published. People will look at your patent and may approach you for commercialization, even though if it is not granted. So after publication, it goes for a request for examination. So within 48 months, you have to apply for a request for examination. And then the first examination report, FER, you will receive after 12 months from the filing of request for examination. If the examiner has certain queries, you have to answer those queries in the examination report. If the examiner is happy to see your answers and is satisfied with your answers, the patent can be granted, or he can reject your patent. Or in the first step itself, that whatever information that you have given and the examiner is satisfied with it, he can directly grant your patent. So this process usually takes almost 5 to 6 years. Now this is reduced to 1 year because of the latest amendment in Patent Act. You will find that your patent can be granted in a year if you are filing a patent in the name of institute, or if you are filing a patent in the name of your startup, or if there is a lady who has done that invention and the inventor is a lady, then there is a provision that you can go for express patent application examination and your patent can be granted in a year span. I'll tell you one of my patents that I applied in 2010. Initially, I applied in 2007 and I could not complete the specification within 1 year and my patent was abandoned. So again, I applied in 2010, but the patent got granted in 2019. So it took 9 years to grant a patent. It's a huge time. The patent tenure itself is 20 years, and out of that 9 years, government has taken to grant that patent. So now this timing is reduced. You can file a patent and the patent will be granted within a very short span of time. I'll tell you, this year to 2021, in March 2021, we applied for one patent. The first FER, the first examination report, was there in the month of August. We filed the answers to the examination report in the month of September, and most probably in this month, October, we are expecting the grant of that patent. Because we get a clue when the examiner asks you certain questions from which you get a clue whether your patent will be granted or not. So just see, in a span of 8 months, 6 to 8 months, our patent is granted. So because we applied for expedite patent examination, which is a recent amendment in the Patent Act. Now, as this patent procedure, making an application is very important under Section 6. Anybody, any person claiming to be a true and first inventor can apply for patent, or he can assign a person claiming to be a true and first inventor, a legal representative of deceased person who immediately before his death was entitled to make the application. So you can file a patent in the name of legal heirs. As I told you that you have to make complete specification under Section 10, Rule 13, or provisional specification followed with complete specification within 12 months. Application to be made in the branch of patent office having jurisdiction. Now we are going to study about that jurisdiction. Nowadays, you can file patent online also. So because of COVID, now a number of people all over world are filing patents online. Previously, online filing was not that much, but because of COVID, now lakhs of people are applying for patent online. Now, if you want to file a patent, now we, as the state of Maharashtra, our patent office branch is in Mumbai. So Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Goa, Chhattisgarh, Union Territories of Daman, Diu, Dadra, Nagar Haveli, they come under the jurisdiction of Mumbai office. So there are 4 patent offices: Mumbai, Chennai, New Delhi, and Kolkata. And the jurisdiction is given over here. So we, as a Maharashtrian, we can file a patent in Mumbai Patent Office, and the patent office is in Antop Hill. If somebody wants, can take the map of it. Because if you can, and you have to visit the website of IP India, Intellectual Property India website, which will give you each and every information in detail. You can download the laws, you can study them, you can study the various criticalities of your work. Even you can know your status of patent. So if you have filed a patent, what is the status? The patent application, the patent website will tell you your status of patent. So it is a very well developed website. You can go to that website and study the things. Now, when you want to file a patent, no, the most important part nowadays comes is the how much money is involved for filing the patent, because and there are various forms. The form number 1 is for application of grant of patent. For an individual, the patent fee is 1750, is an offline mode. In online mode, it is 1600, so less than the offline mode. And for institution, it is 4400. So if your institution wants to file a patent, the fees is 4400. And individual wants to file a patent, the fees is 1750. If your claims are above 10, then you have to give additional amount of 350 rupees per claim. Excess sheets, if you are putting in number of sheets in the application, then above 30, you have to pay 180 rupees per additional sheet of paper. Form number 2 is for specification, complete specification. Form number 3 is for details of foreign filing within 6 months of filing. Form 5 for declaration of inventorship. Form 9 for request for publication. Form 18 for request for examination. So I propose that when you are confident that your work is unique, you should file all these forms simultaneously. Otherwise, by mistake, if you do not file these forms and the duration lapses, your patent gets abandoned. Now, the total government fees required to be paid in 20 years. Now, when you are filing a patent, it is expected that you have to commercialize that work. Because when you are filing a patent, you are spending this much amount of money. Say, filing fees, examination fees, expedite examination. If you want to file expedite patent examination, then you have to pay 6,150 rupees additional. If it is an institution, it is 30,800 rupees. So your patent will be granted earlier. But every year you have to renew your patent, and that renewal there is a fee. So if you cumulate, if you do all the addition of these fees for 20 years, the total fees that you are paying approximately is 90,770 rupees for an individual to government. And for an institution or for an enterprise or a startup, it is 4,53,200. So for an institution, it's a huge amount. But I'll tell you a case that if you file a patent, there was a lady from National Chemical Laboratory. She was doing her PhD, and after completion of PhD, she filed a patent that was for contraceptive medicine, herbal plants. And the patent was granted. And Johnson & Johnson company approached that lady for buying that patent. So she must have spent maybe around 10,000 rupees for that particular patent. And Johnson & Johnson company offered rupees 5 crore for buying that patent. Now see, the lady must have worked for 4 to 5 years for her PhD, has culminated into a patent, and Johnson & Johnson company wants to convert that work done by that lady into a product and sell it in the market. So they asked that lady, and that lady has given them the license, permission to manufacture, and they paid her 5 crore rupees. It's a huge amount. It is expected that whatever patent that you are filing, it should be culminated into product and should be put to use. People should get benefit out of it. So there are hundreds of such examples in India wherein the patent is commercialized and they are getting the benefits. So it is not that you are paying huge amount of money to government, but if you really use your patented work for commercialization, you can earn huge amount of money, which is maybe 100 times more than whatever you have paid to government. Now the most important part in the patent application is patent claims. Patent claims act like the boundaries of the property. समझो आपने एक 5000 स्क्वायर फुट का प्लॉट ले लिया है, तो प्लॉट को आप फेंसिंग नहीं करते हो तो somebody can encroach in your property. So usually if you take a plot, you fence it and you say that, or you put a maybe plate over there saying that this property belongs to XYZ person, and the area, the length, width is written into that. And then who is on the right hand side, who is on the left hand side, that means north, east, south, west. So all 4 parts of your property are showcased in that, so that nobody can encroach your work. Similarly, when you are writing patents, you have to put the boundaries. So they fence the intellectual property so that others are not put to notice about the existence and scope and limitations of your property. So when you put the claims in your patent application, it tells you about the scope of your work, limitations of your work. The scope of the patent claim is deceptive. In most cases, the longer the claim, the narrower its scope. So you have to be very, very specific when you are writing the claims. Although with appropriate claim wording and subject matter, the reverse may be true. The longer the claim, the wider its scope. So it is your skill to write the claim, and that's why usually people take patent agent or patent attorney to write the patent application, usually the claim component. So claims are also highly repetitive, with some patents containing as many as 100 claims. A multitude of claims is the result of carefully worked out claiming strategy designated to prepare the patent application for the challenge that commonly arise during its examination process and after its issues. So this is a claim component is very essential. You have to write it very scrupulously and very seriously. 3 sets of patent claims are presented, each for any invention in a different type of technology, and each illustrating different features of the claim strategy and interpretation. The guidepost in claim language that must help determine the scope of claim and identify it as illustrated. Now, what are the rights under patents? The rights under Patent Act pertain to exclusive right to use the invention during the term of the patent. So the term of patent is 20 years. As long as it is in force of payment of renewal fees. If you fail to pay the fees, your patent is seized. So you have to pay your renewal fees every year. The patentee, holder of the patent, may assign his right or grant license to use the invention. As I told you that the lady from National Chemical Laboratory has licensed the invention to Johnson & Johnson company for commercialization. Now we are approaching the last part of patent limitations. Now under this, there are certain limitations of patent right granted to a patentee under the Patent Act 1970. The first limitation, experiment or research for the purpose of imparting instruction to student without permission or payment is not infringement. That means if you are using a patent for certain instructions to the student for the study purpose, then nobody in the world can enforce you under the patent infringement. Furthermore, government may either use or acquire certain patents under certain circumstances and term or prohibit a person from using the invention. Sometimes it happens that there is a situation wherein somebody has developed some product and which is very useful for the defense sector. Government can take your patent and tell you that you are not supposed to manufacture this and will use your work for the defense. We'll pay you whatever royalty or whatever maybe license fees for you, but government has a right to take your patent. Second limitation is a compulsory license. If the patent is not working to satisfy a reasonable requirements of the public at a reasonable price, the controller may grant compulsory license to any application to work on the patent. So there is a provision. Say in case of say the COVID-19 vaccine. Now the vaccine is costing huge, maybe 10,000 rupees. Now it is very difficult to buy a vaccine for 10,000 rupees. So government may grant a compulsory license saying that it will work on that, will reduce the cost and will be applicable at a reasonable price for the public. A revocation of non-working, a patent may be revoked for non-working. You have just filed a patent, your patent has been granted and you are not working on that. It is expected that whatever work, research work, whatever patented work that you have done should be put to use. Somebody in the society should use it. Otherwise, your patent can be revoked. This is a government has a right to revoke your non-working patents, wherein you have to see that it should be put to use. Inventions for defense purpose. Any inventions which are relevant for defense purpose may be subjected to certain secrecy provisions under the fourth limitation. So if you have developed certain things you and can be used for defense purpose, then you have to maintain the secrecy, and government can take your patent and will pay you the required amount. Now, once you get the patent, your patent is being granted. The most important thing that you should do is to practice a patent, means start manufacturing your product process or put to use, give it to somebody who can manufacture, or you can manufacture on your own. Or you can license your technology and patent to some firm and get royalty for some years. Now, again, you have to do some agreement. Say some XYZ company wants to use your work. So you can make a non-disclosure agreement and an agreement saying that you can use this patent for a span of 10 years. Maybe in those 10 years, you develop your ability to manufacture on your own. So after 10 years, that fellow will not use your patent. So after 10 years, you start manufacturing. The market is already developed by the previous fellow and start selling it in the market. Or directly you can sell your patent to some big company. That is also possible. So outright you can sell your patent maybe for crores of rupees depending upon the value of that patent. So this is what is expected, that once you file a patent, you have to commercialize it and you have to generate wealth out of it. As Ambulkar sir has rightly pointed out, now we have to work for Atmanirbhar Bharat. You have to, every individual has to become Atmanirbhar. So how we can say that we have developed such and such product and we should be proud that this is an Indian product. We have manufactured it and then we can export it all over the world. So that can fetch you good amount of money. So patents can be converted into spin-off startups and can fetch you good amount of money. So patent and entrepreneurship go hand in hand. So once you file a patent, you must think of commercializing it either on your own or through some partner, or you can directly sell it to some big company who is ready to commercialize it. So this is all from my side. If you have any questions, you can ask. Hello.
Yes, thank you, sir. So dear participant, we are open for the question answer. Yes, first you raise your hand and you unmute yourself and then ask the question. Yes, Ramesh Jadhav, kindly please ask your question.
Good
Yes.
afternoon, sir. It's a very nice session and informative also. And I would like to ask one question related. Suppose I have sir framework, conceptual framework, either have framework. Can you apply for like a design patent in patent?
Now, as I told you that there are a lot of misnomers. There is no such design patent, but it is an industrial design, which is something which is another intellectual property right. Patent is one of the intellectual property rights. Another intellectual property is industrial design. Now, in industrial design, the patentability, as you can see in patentability criteria, the three components, the novelty, non-obviousness, and utility. In industrial design, novelty is required, industrial application is required, but the artistic component is involved to a much extent. So you can go for industrial design, filing an industrial design, which is a cheaper thing. You can file an industrial design. The total fees that you required is very less. For 10,000 rupees, your patent will be, not patent, your industrial design will be granted. And there is a renewal for that. But it is easy to get an industrial design than that of a patent. Usually all furniture and maybe aesthetic components, wherein aesthetics is very important, they go for industrial design.
Okay, okay. Sir, it is related, my question is software design and architecture, right? Related to like data collection, data integrations, that have architecture design or model.
No, you cannot file a patent on any kind of algorithm. So it is an architect means you have an algorithm for that.
Okay.
Am I correct?
Yes, no, software, like whatever we have software system, that system can be integrated some architectural design, and then it will be get like a data for analysis purpose. But that's why we have made conceptual, but after implementation that will get a right result. That idea.
If your work, which is a software as well as hardware,
okay,
means the algorithm that you have created, the architecture that you have created is going to help a particular machine,
okay,
like a CNC machine.
Okay.
And you want to file a patent, then it can be patented. But alone, if you want to file a patent on only software, in India, we cannot file a patent on software, but you can file a copyright of that.
Okay.
So you will get your copyright for algorithm will be granted, and then you can apply that particular work for commercialization.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Any other participant who want to ask the question to sir?
I'll tell you that this particular, you use this mobile phone. This mobile phone has hundreds of patents involved in it and lot of intellectual property. Means it has patent, it has industrial design, it has copyright, it has trademark. All these are involved into this particular simple product.
So can we take the another question? Yes, Dr. Neeraj Anand, kindly.
Dr. Sanjay, thanks for your valuable session. I think very informative. I just asking like for IPR, can we go for copyright for brochures which we design for various events? We uniquely design conference brochure and MDP brochure. Like, can we go for a copyright also?
Yes, yes. For any literary work means you have designed a original brochure. Nobody has developed such kind of brochure.
Right.
And it is your unique brochure. You can file a copyright for that.
And same is the case with product catalog. Like we prepare e-catalog, product catalog.
Yes, yes, yes. E-catalogs can be filed for copyright. Right. Your brochures can be filed for copyright. Even copyright is something which is literary or artistic work. Right. So any literary work, say if you put some slogans into that, if you put some buzzwords into that, and you have some combination of artistic work as well as literary work, you can file a copyright of that. But
Does
it
it
should
involve
not be copied
any
from
fees?
somebody else's work. Yes.
Any fees? Does it involve any fees?
Yeah, for publication of copyright, it is very cheap. You have to pay only 500 rupees.
Okay.
And once you file a copyright, maybe in a month you will get a response. They have the office is for copyright is in Delhi. You just go to Google and type copyright office. You will go to the website of copyright office in Delhi.
Okay.
There is a form. You can download that form and fill it and send it with your proof of whatever work that you have done.
Right.
And the copyright office is satisfied with whatever you have sent. He just grants. If you feel that if you are not commercially using your whatever brochure or something like that, you just put N-Circle C into that, it is copyrighted automatically. If you want to protect it, means you want to commercialize it,
right,
then you register your copyright by paying 500 rupees. And then your copyright gets registered. Then you have as a owner of that particular copyright, you can commercialize it, you can sell it. Nobody in the world can stop you. And the tenure of copyright is huge. After death of that particular person, 60 years.
I see. Okay.
It's a huge tenure.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Sanjay.
Dr. Amol, sir, kindly unmute yourself and ask your question, sir. Please.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Very good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, Dr. Sanjay, sir. My question is to that, suppose I have developed one Android-based app, and this is for the image processing and all. So just my first question is that whether it is considered for the PTR, and the next question is that if when I should I publicly declare, once I getting the PTR or before that?
No. This is an app, means it is an algorithm. So you have to first copyright that work.
Okay.
Once you put a copyright and you want to commercially use that, then you register your copyright. Once you get the grant of your copyright, you can start commercially using it.
After getting the PTR,
nobody will stop you and nobody can copy your work.
Okay.
So initially, because if you start using it, it will go in public domain and somebody will copy it and can develop a similar app and come in the market before you and grab the market share. Then you will lose the market share. So see that. Yes.
So suppose at the time of PTR, suppose if time to explain that how many years that adopted, so is there kind of create a problem, like if at the time of presentation, if they will ask us that how many are adapted, so in that case?
No. Before publishing, before presenting to anybody, you have to file the copyright. Because copyright filing is a matter of hardly 1 day. If you sit on your work, write the things in a very systematic manner in that application and send it. It is online. Maybe in a month you will get your notification that your copyright is accepted or has some queries. You have to answer those queries, and it's a very short span you will get your result. So once you file, you protect your intellectual property. Now this you have used your intellect. You have used certain logic for developing this, and nobody should copy this. That's why you have to protect it first. You should tell it in public domain that if you are pitching it or if you are explaining it to somebody, means you are exposing your work. And now it will be difficult for you again to protect that. So you lose the novelty of that work.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you so much, Sanjay sir, for resolving my query. Thank you so much for this valuable guidance and all.
Thank you.
Any other participant who wants to ask the question?
Can you share the feedback form, ma'am, please? I have not received the link for feedback.
Yes, sir. We will share into the WhatsApp group. We already share it on in the WhatsApp group.
Actually, ma'am, I am not there in the WhatsApp group. Can you please share in the chat box? It is convenient for me.
Yes, yes, ma'am. But we are facing some technical issue. This chat box is not enabled.
So can you
I
mail
will
me?
mail it. Yes,
Please,
I will
please
mail
mail
it
it.
to. Yes, I will
Yeah,
mail it
please.
to all of you. You have already registered, so I
Yes.
have all your mail ID. I will mail you also.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Please do it. Otherwise, I am not there in the WhatsApp group. Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
please mail me the feedback form. Okay, ma'am.
yes, ma'am. I will do.
Thank you for your cooperation.
So there is no question from participant. So can we move further?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. So I would like to give you a vote.
Professor Nitin Kanade is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, your session was very good, sir. Actually, I joined your sessions very late, but I have one question related to the global patent, sir. Suppose that I filed patent in India, and if someone is copying outside India, so how I am going to protect that thing, sir? So, is there any concept of the global patent or international patent?
So I will tell you, patent is a territorial right. Means if you file patent in India, but anybody in the world is not supposed to copy that. Means if somebody is copying in US your work, you can sue him in the court of law. This is provision under the Patent Act. All over world, the patent acts are there. You can file an application. There is a separate court now created for intellectual property right by Government of India. And if you feel that they are copying your work, you can directly sue them in the court of law by sending them a notice. And if it is proved by the court that that fellow has exploited your work, is a compensation in crores of rupees that you will get. But it takes a lot of time because you lose a lot of time in filing the case and then fighting with that fellow and paying the fees of court and all those things. So to avoid this, initially only we have to see that it should be done in a very scrupulous manner for prior art. So once you are confident that nobody in the world has done this kind of work, then you can file a patent. Otherwise, you may come under difficulties of maybe people saying that you have copied somebody's work or somebody, and that is possible anywhere in the world. So even though it is territorial right, nobody in the world can copy your work.
Okay, okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So can we move further?
Yes. If there are no questions, you can.
Yes. Dear participant, okay. So thank you so much, sir. It was very informative and encouraging session, and I should. Sir, it was very, you have very well explained what are the things which are patentable and what are the things which are not patentable. What is the patent criteria? What is the procedure for registration for the patent? What are the forms which are required for filling for the patent? And you also give very well explaining total government fees required for the 20 years and what are the limitations to the patent. You already share some case studies also. So it was very nice session, sir. So I would like to thank you on the behalf of Yashaswi Education Institution of International Institute of Management and Science. Thank you so much, sir. So we conclude here. We conclude this session here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the all participant also for the patient listening and
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to all of you. Thank you.